Do you know how the workers acquired health, safety, and their rights in the workplace? Well, you can be assured that it didn't come from the goodness of the hearts of the government or from the goodness of the hearts of the employers. Both of these groups are more interested in profits and money than the lives and welfare of the workers. My goal is to inform you on the Workers' Historic Compromise of 1915. While doing research on the workers in Ontario, I uncovered many injustices and abuse that the workers suffered in the workplace that led to the Historic Compromise. The workers that fallen in the line of duty were dealt a life of misery, one after the other. The workers started to organize and stand together in the mid-1800s. It was primarily to keep the children out of the workplace. Children younger than 10 years old were found in the workplaces. Facts came out of royal commissions that children were being whipped. Some children were being forced to work overtime without pay. Children were used in competition with adult salaries to keep the wages low, and you guessed it, the profits high. Once a story of a 13-year-old boy right here in London, Ontario, in the early 1900s. He was put to work by his widowed mother in a furniture factory. The employer put him on the shaper machine. A machine that's so dangerous that even the veteran employees avoided it. 4 hours after this young boy started work, he was under chloroform, having the stumps of all his fingers cauterized. What were you doing at 13? It's not bad enough this boy lost his fingers on the job, but he was beaten in the courts. When the employer's lawyer successfully argued, well, he assumed the risk of employment when he accepted the job. The lawyers in those days were using the old English common law to deny compensation to workers that had fallen in the line of duty. These were known as the unholy trinity of employers' defense. In other words, 1, if the accident was caused by the worker, or 2, if the accident was caused by the co-worker, the employer was not liable. And 3, it didn't matter, because you assumed the risk of employment when you accepted the job. Unholy Trinity. In one event, 2,000 workers walked to Queen's Park in Toronto. By the time they got to Queen's Park, the parade had grown to 10,000. That was 1/10 of the population of Toronto at that time. Do you realize in today's numbers we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people? Almost 500,000 people standing at the legislature in Queen's Park? That's how changes came about for the workers. Because the workers would stand together and demanded. The Workers United pressured the Ontario government to create the Workmen's Compensation Act of 1915. Workmen's Compensation Act. This act is also known as the Workers' Historic Compromise. This is where the workers gave up their rights to sue the employer for injuries received in the workplace, and in turn they would receive prompt compensation for the disabilities for as long as the disabilities lasted in a non-adversarial system. The history of injured workers in Ontario and in Canada is full of horrific stories of poverty, chronic pain, family breakdowns, and yes, even suicide. You might not realize this, but there's 1,000 Canadians that die, over 1,000 Canadians that die in the workplace every year. Millions more get injured, many become disabled. Thousands more get sick or diseased in the workplace every year. I would like to emphasize that the health, safety, and the rights that benefited the workers in the workplace came about by the workers themselves, because the workers found the courage to stand together in solidarity and demanding better working conditions. The workers are the ones that brought about the historic compromise. And sad enough, today, over 100 years later, the government and the employers are still working in unison to deny injured workers their benefits, while still denying the injured workers the power to sue. The historic compromise has been compromised, and we, the workers, need to organize.